Okay, welcome everybody to the Lenox Selectboard meeting of, what's the date today? December 20th. And no announcements from the chair, and look for a motion to accept the minutes of November 15th and November 29th.
So, Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the minutes for November 15th and November 29th of the meeting of the Lenox Board of Selectmen.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
I am aye on the first, but nay on the, abstaining on the 15th because I wasn't present.
Okay. So next up is Citizens Open Forum. Is there anybody here to speak at Citizens Open Forum? And
Is this the time, or should I wait?
no, we'll wait until I know what you want to talk about, so we'll just do it later in the meeting if that's okay with you.
That's perfect.
Okay. So we'll go to the consent agenda. Mr. Roach, will you read the consent
I
agenda?
certainly will. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll read it when I find it.
You just said it.
I know, here it is, I got it. So, Mr. Chairman, the consent agenda, I move that we accept a donation acceptance from the community center. So Director Darlene is seeking permission to accept monetary donations to the Lenox Community Center from the Fix-It Fair in memory of Tom Bosworth. Personnel policy update, the town manager is requesting the board acknowledgement of his intent to amend the personnel manual in accordance with the board's FY 2024 goals and objectives and the personnel administration provisions of the Town Manager Act, Chapter 155, Section 7 of the Acts of 1991. Additionally, a one-day all-alcoholic license for Lou Pastrana, request a one-day all-alcoholic license for a holiday party fundraiser at Home Farm at Under Mountain, located at 400 Under Mountain Road on Saturday, December 16th. And then we go to the Town Hall facility request. Isaac Vars requests the use of the Town Hall Auditorium on February 8th for Spirit Gallery with John Simons, author and psychic medium. And lastly, the appointment of town manager seeks to appoint Travis Derby in the position of patrolman in the Lenox Police Department, and a memorandum regarding this appointment is included in your packet. And I'll put a quick hold on that.
Me too.
Okay, so is there a second on the ones that,
I'll second everything, subject to the holds.
any discussion on them? So vote?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye?
The only thing I'm holding out on the patrolman is that I had conversation with Chief O'Brien, and he's very happy with this candidate, and looks forward to including him in our cadre of police officers.
Yeah,
So
that
wish
was
him the best of luck.
essentially all I wanted to do is the same thing. Welcome him to Lenox, that, I hear nothing but good things, and, I greatly appreciate our town manager and Chief O'Brien's efforts to find quality people.
And it's getting tough. It's getting difficult.
And very importantly, in this position, he's got all his credentials
Everyone.
to start working
Yep.
tomorrow.
Yep. Yeah, we're all set.
Yeah.
So I'll make a motion to accept the appointment of Travis Derby as position of patrolman.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, next, we'll go to general business and move on to license renewals. And we all in our packet have a list of all our, just alcohol license, liquor licenses.
It's alcohol and other and entertainment.
Okay.
It's all the businesses.
I know it's, Mary Ellen always, she always, I felt sorry for her. It's
a big job.
It doesn't sound simple. There's a lot of hours that go into this, a lot of hours. So, Deanna, is there anything you want to say?
It's been a bear, but I've learned a lot.
Did you go and have a drink at all these places, or?
Not yet.
Wow, it is a lot. Yeah. So, Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the renewal of all licenses for those establishments enumerated and presented by board staff.
Second that?
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thanks, Deanna.
Yes, thank
Think
you.
of it as
Thank you.
a lot of hard work for you and greatly appreciated, but also look at all these establishments that are vibrant in town of Lenox.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
It's quite a
Exactly.
number.
Okay, next, this is, it's the review of and approve the joint signature letter that the 5 towns, plus others now, are going to submit to the EPA for the rail transport, in favor of rail transport, highly in favor of it. And
So,
before we
Mr.
get-
Chair, unfortunately, as much as I would love to share my thoughts on it, it would be inappropriate for me to because of my conflict of interest, so I'll recuse myself, and this is probably the final
This is the final, yeah.
agenda of your meeting, so
A moment of supper.
take care, everyone.
Thanks, Ed. Appreciate
Have a
that.
happy
Have a
holiday.
great holiday.
Be safe.
Yes, you too.
You too. Best of luck with your family, Neil.
Thank you. Thank you, appreciate that.
Hope the kids are well.
So as I say, we've, 5 towns have crafted a letter to send to EPA, giving our strong concerns about the transportation plan submitted by GE. And it's public information, it's on the website, it's everywhere. But I'd like to have the town manager read it, so it's definitely is everywhere.
Certainly, yeah. So I will point out before I read that we have received a request from the town of West Stockbridge from their select board seeking to sign on to this. It was originally crafted by the 5 communities that were part of the original settlement agreement. However, West Stockbridge has asked, and I think it's valuable to include them as a signatory to this joint signature letter, which I will read. It's a joint letter of the select boards in the towns of Great Barrington, Lee, Lenox, Sheffield, Stockbridge, and West Stockbridge regarding rail transport for Housatonic Rest of River cleanup plan. Letters addressed to Dean Tagliaferro at EPA New England. Dear Mr. Tagliaferro, allow us to articulate our town's resolute support for the integration of rail transport in the Housatonic Rest of River cleanup project. However, our collective sentiment is one of profound surprise and disappointment stemming from the apparent disregard for rail options evident in the recent plan submitted by Arcadis on behalf of General Electric. The challenges posed to rail within this submission lack the inventive solutions we had hoped for, and the early emphasis on trucks raises legitimate concerns about the depth of GE's commitment to a comprehensive analysis of rail transport in the project's future stages. We insist that ongoing evaluations be conducted with greater rigor than has been demonstrated so far, recognizing the Environmental Protection Agency as the sole entity endowed with the authority to mandate such endeavors. The paramount importance of maximizing rail transport, both to the upland disposal facility and beyond state borders, cannot be overstated. It serves as a linchpin for minimizing disruption to our residents and alleviating the burden on municipal infrastructure. In our perspective, rail should be elevated to the status of the primary mode of transport, an inclination not presently mirrored in the existing plan. Our conviction remains steadfast in the notion that maximizing rail represents the most judicious approach to the project, countering the prevailing emphasis on trucks. We fully expect EPA, guided by its policy goals, will discern rail as the optimal choice given its inherent capacity to reduce vehicular traffic on roadways, rendering it a safer option. Furthermore, from a public health standpoint, rail will likely emerge as the safest option pending confirmation by our respective boards of health whose scientific analyses are anticipated. The plan's apparent indifference towards rail introduces legitimate apprehensions regarding the boundaries prescribed by the settlement agreement that precipitated its formulation. Should insurmountable financial constraints contribute to the dismissal of rail, we beseech our federal delegation, copied, to procure the requisite supplemental aid for improvements, thereby bridging any extant gaps. Put plainly, if GE lacks a legal mandate to fund rail infrastructure, we advocate for federal funding to be secured for necessary improvements preceding the project's commencement. This proposition encapsulates the most substantive contribution our federal representatives can proffer at this stage, surpassing the confines of existing regulatory or settlement agreement provisions. As the ongoing comment period persists, you may anticipate further missives from each of our towns, ardently championing the cause of rail, supplemented by comprehensive analyses. We extend our gratitude for your thoughtful consideration and anticipate a favorable response. Sincerely, the Select Board Chairs of Great Barrington, Lee, Lenox, Sheffield, Stockbridge, and West Stockbridge. Copying Senator Markey, Senator Warren, Congressman Neal, Governor Healy, Senator Mark, and Representative Pignatelli.
Thank you, Chris. I think everybody's going to agree it's a very well-written letter.
Yes.
A lot of work went into this by a lot of people to get it just right. I think it's strong, it's important, it's strong, and it says it like it is. You know, I think none of us were very happy with the transportation plan that was submitted by General Electric. And so this is the direction we want to move in. I think most people in the county seem that way right now too. So thank you, Chris, for this. We'll sign it. The town of Lee signed it last night. Who else?
Stockbridge.
Stockbridge.
Stockbridge met and they were
agreed to
amenable. I
it.
think they put it out.
And
for
Barrington's on
additional-
tomorrow night. They're
I'm not sure when
Okay.
Great Barrington's
In the near
meeting,
future.
but Sheffield has met, and it was indicated to me by the town administrator via email that West Stockbridge has already met. And all of them.
I'm glad to see that West Stockbridge following along. It's just the more clout you have, the best it is. But one thing, this is great. This is absolutely great. This is what we promised we'd do. But we're not stopping here. We at town meeting, we appropriated good money to have Weston Sampson, our engineers, work for us and help us in all stages of this cleanup. This is a big stage of the cleanup, so they're going to be working with us in the next coming weeks. And we'll, I'm sure, submit more information of our, at least for the town of Lenox's protest to go this route. And there again, anybody that's listening, I encourage anybody to write letters themselves or write them to us. We said this all along, we want all the information we can have and all the, the input we can have from everybody. So,
If I could just add to that, Mr. Chair, directly to your point, the red banner on the town website provides a link to guide any resident on how to submit comments on the transportation and disposal plan. So if you go to the town website and you can access it, it's a big red flashing.
Yeah, I know, I've seen it.
So,
Could I just allow him to speak? Is it
Oh,
okay?
sure.
He was here for,
Okay.
but you have to just introduce yourself at the,
Okay.
in-
Robert Davenport, 39 Golden Hill Road, Lennoxdale. Thank you, Ed, thank you, entire committee, for letting me speak. I read the letter, and I had been at the Lee meeting in which the engineers had submitted their proposal, and I think the letter very succinctly reflects how poorly their presentation was at that particular meeting, and I think it was met with appropriate concern by the Tri-Town Medical Board and by other representatives. The letter is very well constructed, and I thank everybody for all the effort they put into it. But because of the kinds of things that we've seen from that particular report, or the lack thereof, I think that should alert us all that the devil is in the details as we go forward with this proposed cleanup. And I would just like to caution everyone that if they were that ill-prepared with the transportation aspect of this proposal, then the other details, I'm highly concerned would be just as cursorily addressed. How many core samples have they done? When was the last time core samples were done on the entire cleanup? How deep do the core samples go? Do they go down to a point where there are no PCBs and they will remove that much, or do they only go down to a certain depth and we still end up with a significant amount of PCBs left in the river? There are a lot of questions that I think still need to be answered. Also, with regards to Woods Pond, if they're going to use some sort of hydraulic system, our impression from that meeting in Lee was that the system has not even been tested yet, and yet they are proposing that as the way to clean up Woods Pond. Perhaps they can provide the rest of us with some hard data as to whether or not that has been successfully done elsewhere. It was never mentioned that a system like a conveyor system might be another alternative to be constructed. And as a person that grew up in western Ohio near a stone quarry where lake freighters came in and had stone going from the quarry out to the lake, they used the conveyor system very effectively with almost no disruption to anybody and almost no sound. I don't think they've even addressed that particular issue, that a conveyor belt system could possibly be implemented. So again, I'd like to thank everybody on the committee, and I would strongly approve of sending that letter. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. And there are tremendous points. They're very, very good points. And it just underscores the reason why we hired engineers. I would like to see other towns do the same. We went into this knowing full well we were going to have to keep both eyes on every movement of this thing. And so far it hasn't. What you know is what we know so far, which is a sad thing. It's not like we're not passing information on. It hasn't been forthcoming, so. But we have people that are going to ask the right questions. Anybody else want to
No, I think,
comment on the letter?
I think you hit the nail right on the head, really. I mean, most everything that's proposed is theoretical as to what it's going to be. I would hope they start putting some flesh on the bones that as to what the cleanup's going to involve, and as you pointed out, the methodology involved in it. So, yeah, I mean, I look at my colleagues here. That's why we hired the engineers that we hired, because they're the experts, not us. So let's use them to the best of our ability. Yeah, I hope other towns come on board with engineers in their own sectors and what they need to do. Yep.
And I think it's a really great point that the letter makes, that should GE and EPA, or GE specifically, not feel that it's within the confines of the settlement agreement financially to use rail, that it's incumbent upon our federal connections and our state connections to do whatever is possible to free up money so that additional rail could be put into this program.
That's a real good point. We can't let them use the fact.
That there's not enough money.
That we can't afford to do that.
Right.
If they can prove they can't afford to do that, we have to make that happen.
Right. Yeah. So I really appreciate the fact that that's inserted into this as well. There are financial considerations, but the local considerations for transportation and for how it affects us with regard to, smell, noise, transportation, that those are all really important points within the confines of the permit. So thank you for including all of that.
There's years and years and years of work ahead of us.
Yes.
Isn't that over with this?
Yep.
Okay.
Good start.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, if I may, I move to authorize the chair to sign a joint signature letter to the EPA as presented in collaboration with the select boards in Great Barrington, Lee, Sheffield, Stockbridge, and West Stockbridge.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you very much. So that concludes our general business for tonight. Is there anything you want to talk about?
Wish my colleagues the best for the holiday season. Be safe.
Oh, yeah, it's coming up. It snuck right up.
It snuck right up. Amen.
Okay.
It doesn't look like a white one.
No.
All right, so our next regular meeting will be January 3rd. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, folks.